Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and you know this guy?
Hi, I'm Paul.
Paul, old dog here in the Philippines. Today I want to talk to Paul a little bit about what has changed and what is different here in Dumaguete. You've been here how many years now,
8.5.
8.5 years, and the city has really changed.
It is.
So I have 10 questions to ask Paul, because if I just let him ramble, we'll be here for hours. What was your first impression of Dumaguete when you got here?
My first impression, we ain't in Thailand anymore.
Even Thailand. Why would you say that?
I thought this was going to be, I had put it in my head that the Philippines was going to be Thailand, but they speak English. So, I swear to God. That's what we imagine what we want to hear. We tell ourselves what we want to believe, you know? And so I kept telling myself, oh, that's what it's going to be over there, man. It's going to be just like Thailand, but they're going to be able to speak English. And it was nothing like Thailand. And so just the cab ride from the airport to the hotel, I landed in Cebu, and I stayed in Cebu for 24 hours. And then I took a bus to Dumaguete. But I noticed the body shapes were a lot different. The people were just heavier and not fat, but they were just heavier.
More stocky.
Stocky is a good word. In Thailand, everybody was rail thin and long legs and all that. And I thought, this reminds me of Mexico as I looked at the architecture, you know, and the buildings and the people. And it wasn't a bad vibe. I just said, this is different. So that was my initial first impression.
So why did you choose Dumaguete 8 years ago as a place to live?
Okay. That's a fair question. I get asked that a lot. Back then, I did my research online watching videos. And I had been to Thailand prior in 2009 and 2005. And so when I started my retirement plans, it was for Thailand. Then as I started to research and ask questions and go on different, not just YouTube videos, but just different sites, just ask the general question in Google, best places to retire, top 10 countries, etc. The Forbes article came out.
Forbes, yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And so Forbes came out and it had Dumaguete listed as the #1 retirement place, not the Philippines, Dumaguete, Philippines, for cost of living and etc., etc. So I started to watch YouTube videos, and I watched 3 or 4 guys that were vlogging from here at the time. And my motivation to retire overseas was strictly financial. And so after reading everything, I'd never been to the Philippines. I got on a plane, and this is where I landed 8.5 years ago.
This is it. So what was the biggest reason Dumaguete felt like home to make you want to just stay here?
I gave it 6 months. When I left, I had a checklist of things, commandments, I called them, when I left America. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself 6 months. And if I like it, I'll stay. And if I don't like it, I'll do one of 2 things. I'll fly to another country, or I'll just go back home and I'll just start over again.
6 months.
I'll just say I gave it a try. It didn't work. Pat myself on the back for giving it the effort. And if I don't think Thailand's, Vietnam, or any of these other neighboring countries are going to be working for me, you can always go back home. You can always buy another car. I can always get another job.
Start over again in Las Vegas.
Or somewhere. And that was the game plan. So your question was, when did I decide it was home? The answer is, well, go ahead.
Why does it feel like home to you now?
Now or then?
Then to make you want to stay more than those 6 months.
Okay. I went through the 6-month period, and I had my moments of doubt in like months 3 and 4. Initially I was so busy in setup mode, finding an apartment, getting organized, getting my bearings. I was renting a scooter. It was 10 or 15 days before I even just stopped and went down to the boulevard for the first time and sat down and watched the ocean for a while. I was busy, busy, busy. And so I settled into a routine. I got lucky. My neighbor was a kid named Sam. He was in his 40s, ex-Marine. He kind of took me under his wing and showed me around little shortcuts and tricks of the trade and how to navigate, introduced me to some people. And at about month 3 or 4, I started to think, I don't know about this. Um, is this really working for me or not? But by month 5 and 6, I had accepted those things that were annoying me. I recognized what they were. And the primary thing was that I said, okay, if this is bugging me, what am I going to go back to? And I compared the two, and it was light years apart. You know, these
Totally different
little
life. Yeah.
annoyances here that I'm doubting on um, are this big compared to this big to back home. And on 6 months and one day, I bought a scooter, paid cash for a scooter because I had one of my commandments was A, I'm not going to buy anything that would anchor me here to some degree until 6 months has passed. Not 3 months, not 2 months, not 7 months. 6 months is my number. If I can't figure it out within that amount of time, then we got to make a change. And one day after 6 months, I said, this is home.
Fine.
I dig it here.
Six,
I
six
like
months.
it here. And
Now,
I bought the scooter, and that was that.
now, in your opinion, you've been here 8.5 years. What has
Yeah.
changed the most? You know, a lot of guys are going to see this. They're going to say, "Well, Dumaguete was nice then, but
Mm.
it's not nice now." In your opinion, what has changed the most in the 8 years here?
Boy, you could go so many different directions on that.
Well,
I mean, it's
let's
so. I'll answer the question.
yeah.
It's
Let's keep girls out of it, and we'll because relationships are here and there, but
of course, yeah, that's a good thing to keep out. But you didn't say nothing about the fellas.
the fellas, yeah. He called me
Yeah,
and asked me what
yeah,
shirt you wearing today. I told
yeah,
him red. What do you
yeah,
do? He put on a red shirt.
yeah. There you go. What's changed? Uh, it was the amount of expats that were here when I got here. I was still something that people would stop and stare at the first couple of years that I was here. If I went down the street on my little scooter with my white hair and my white face, people would literally, I'm talking kids, men, women, adults, police, they would stop and they would look at me like a giraffe had just gone by
You were something different,
I
something
stood
they had
out.
never experienced, a
I, s-
novelty
I stood out.
in the city.
And it was like they weren't looking at me with envy or anything. They were looking at me with like
Curiosity.
curiosity. And it was like, wow, what is that all about? Who's that guy? Where's he from? What's he doing? And so for the first 2 years, that was really kind of the vibe that was here. And then the pandemic hit, and the whole vibe changed after
Mm.
that.
How I came after the pandemic when it so that's a totally different dynamic these last 4 years compared to pre pandemic. But the one thing everybody wants to know about, the cost of living, how much has that changed? And also explain a little bit about how the value of the dollar has helped or hindered
Yeah.
your existence here.
Well, I can honestly tell you that the cost of living out here has not changed much since I got here. And there's some mathematical equations that you can throw at this to make that a true statement. My budget when I moved out here turned out to be $1,500 a month. That was inclusive of everything. I mean, soup to nuts. End of the month, I spent 1,500 bucks, and that was less than what I was receiving on my Social Security check, which was my only income. And so I was able to squirrel away a few hundred bucks every month, which I felt good about. As time has gone up, inflation has hit the Philippines. Things are about 30% higher today than they were then. So anything from a beer to a gallon of gas to a meal at a restaurant, etc., has gone up. But there's two factors involved. number one, living off of Social Security, there's been COLA raises.
Yeah.
So that's, even though they're not huge, there was one big one a couple of years
Yeah,
ago.
we got a
but
five, almost 6%.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So boom, that went up. But the exchange rate has climbed. When I landed, it was 47 to 1. Today it's 58. And so I get more bang for my buck
That's like a
now
20% increase.
than I did back then. I have more money in my wallet today than I did when I first got here, even with factoring in inflation.
Now you've talked about your budget being now 2,000. Is it more
Yeah.
your spending habits now
Mhm.
than the cost of that?
Yeah. I got married. So there's an extra expense, whether you like to agree to that or
Yeah.
not. That's I'm feeding two. I'm buying two hamburgers instead of one when I go out. And so, and my wife has needs, and she has her income, which she uses, but still, I
You're the
tend
main
to,
provider, right?
I'm the only provider. Yeah, I'm the main provider, I guess is the way to put it. As far as her family and all that kind of stuff, they don't bleed me, never have, never will. She takes care of them on her own, and she's taken on that responsibility. So I would say the only reason it's gone from 1,500 to 2,000 is because, number one, we I have a wife, and so I am feeding two people. The rent doesn't change no matter how many people live there. But I think it's just since I think that I'm a little more extravagant now than I was when I first arrived. I was a real penny pincher when I first got here. And um, I'm not a guy that tosses money around a lot. But when my wife and I go out, we tend to go to nicer places,
A
a
little bit of
little more
upscale.
upscale. And we enjoy the service, we enjoy the food, we enjoy the ambiance. I can knock it back down to 1,500 today. And all I would have to change is me, because my wife is still super low maintenance, and she's just as happy eating at a local. Actually, sometimes she's more happy.
She's more happy with that.
with,
We've eaten together, and she doesn't like the food. She'll take she'll get to go something, she'll go eat somewhere else. She won't even
She
eat with us.
will.
She'll go,
Of course, she'll eat at home. And so
buy that sticky rice for 20
I'm
pesos.
the expensive one, not her. And so, yeah, could I knock it down to 1,500 again? Not a problem. Not a problem.
Have you found Dumaguete now is more crowded and busier than it was 8 years ago? And when did you see the big change?
I saw the big change. Um, I saw the big change in not expats, which is what the big claim is. Oh, there's too many expats there. The expat ratio today is the same as it was 8 years ago. And that's about 3.3% of the population are expats. That has not changed at all, because people come and people go. Where I see the crowding effect is the middle class Filipinos. I see that. You see it.
I see it all the time.
Do.
I see it all the time.
Because I'll go to a coffee shop that's selling overpriced lattes, and
Hang out at the Henry, one of the more expensive places.
dude, I was there the other day. Nothing but Filipinos, and then me and May.
Yeah.
I was the only white face at the Henry, which is an upscale hotel with some upscale restaurants. If I go to Robinson's Mall, there's 5 or 6 expats.
Yeah,
there.
wandering
You're
around
always
with
going to see them, and I probably see them more because they recognize me and they come up and they say, "Hey, I watch your channel," or whatever, and so we chit chat for a little while. But it's 3% of the people at
Who live here?
Robinson's Mall look like me.
I think it's less than that at the mall, really.
Probably, but I'm just using the math.
The one coffee place, the little kiosk I like to sit at, I have to wait for all the Filipinos to be done with their 200 peso cup of coffee and their 150 peso piece of pastry.
Yeah.
It's not everybody's.
The middle class has boomed out here.
Yeah.
I do not pretend to know why. Okay. I honestly don't know what happened.
Now we're talking.
Man, boom. It's just, when I was here, there was the rich and there was the poor. And that was it. I'm talking 8 years ago. You were either really wealthy Filipino or you were just dirt poor Filipino. And now that dynamic has changed. I wish I knew the answer to tell you and them, but I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I don't know why, but it's here. I think everybody's working. Now, the expat community, you touched on that. 8 years ago, when expats were coming here, and the reason expats are coming here now, have you noticed a difference in their reasons for coming? Were they coming more for the adventure back then, and now they're coming more for to become a resident, or is it basically the same? They come in and they leave.
I think it not that much has changed. You've got two categories, I think. There's the economic expat, that's me, guy that comes over because it's a lower budget. And then there's the romance expat who's
Yeah,
looking for the girl.
yes.
I am seeing what I am seeing more and more of are couples coming in that have cohabitated, gotten married, met in America or Canada, and they've been together for 20 years, 30 years, whatever. She's originally from here. The most common story that I hear is that she 20 years ago went to Canada. Last lady I met, couple I met, Canadian. She went to Canada 20, 25 years ago to work as a nurse or whatever it was. And she met her husband at work and they got married and they've been living together for 20, 25 years. And they're thinking about retiring and building a house. And they came out and they said, you know what? We want to live here. She wants to reconnect with her family. He likes it here. She likes it here. And you and I both know tons of people that fit that
They
category.
plan their retirement to move here over the 20 years. They don't have the insecurities like a lot of expats who meet somebody here.
No,
with their partner.
No, they're not. Nobody's looking for a partner. Nobody's really looking for cheaper living either. I mean, they're building $1 million houses.
These are wealthy
USD.
Yeah.
These are big time money people because they got that dual income.
Yeah.
The kids are raised, they're off to college. They were both very successful at their careers back home. So I see a lot of that coming in. And then there's always the guys that are coming for the usual suspects. They want to meet a girl or
they usually stop at Angeles City prior to coming here.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So in the 8 years you've been here, what is something that hasn't changed that you still love about Dumaguete?
The people. Oh, sorry, I just bumped your table. The people, the attitude of the people, the friendliness of the people, the vibe, how helpful they are, how friendly they are, how you have to buy a frown from somebody. Smiles are free when they give them to you all day long.
The people are friendly. Everybody talks about, the scamming and this and that, a little bit of this, and the begging, but the 99.9%, when you walk on the boulevard, as we walked in here, nothing but hello, sir, how are you? And smiles.
Yeah.
And,
every time I've been scammed, it's been by a foreigner. So
foreigners, watch out for foreigners.
Watch out for them guys. Yeah.
So if someone is getting on the plane today and they're going to come right to Dumaguete, what's going to surprise them most? What is the most unexpected thing that you think they'll find?
I would say that if they're thinking that they're going to stand out and be a rock star, that's no longer on the table. I would say we've become very passé out here.
Yes.
No one looks at me.
We're no different than anybody else.
8 years ago, nobody gives me a second glance, or you, or anybody else for that matter.
Sometimes I feel invisible.
Yeah.
The other night I was walking on the boulevard at night, and nobody was interested in me before I had dinner. Nobody, nothing. You got to smile if you made eye contact with somebody, but that's it.
I've occasionally tapped into a couple of other channels just out of curiosity. I don't do it very often, but there's still these guys selling this illusion that if you come over here, it's like Brad Pitt just got off the plane.
Oh, they're all catching me at the airport.
Swarming to get to you. No.
There's not that line at the airport. You go through customs, and as you come out customs, they go, single men here, and there's 100 women at the end of this little line waiting for you. Me, sir. So we'll get to the tough question here now.
Okay.
After all these years, if you had to do it over again.
Yeah, sure.
has life worked out for you here the way you envisioned?
You know what, man? It's I can't describe how much it's worked for me. You know, when I think of the word winning, I won. I won the game. I won the game of life coming over here. I don't know how else to emphasize it. And it's nothing that I did. It's what the Philippines did. It was an offering that it gave me. It was a second chance. It was something that I couldn't have envisioned it working out better.
The
I really couldn't.
rebooting of your life was
Yeah, and the self-discovery of oneself. You know, I kind of lost myself in America. My real true personality,
yeah.
my real true sense of humor, and how I felt about myself, my impression of myself. I was, Debbie Downer and blaming myself for this and that and the other. No worse critic for me than me. And so much of that has just faded away. And I owe it all to the Philippines. I really do.
Is there any point where you think you're gonna leave Dumaguete?
Never.
Never. Well, we'll end it on that. He's never gonna leave.
No.
Paul,
No.
thanks for being on the channel. Thanks for your answering these questions. And guys, catch you next time.
Always my pleasure, Mike.
Well.